A 2-month-old boy rolls into your resuscitation room, completely blue. His mom anxiously said they've been followed for tetralogy of Fallot at the big pediatric center. They're awaiting elective repair, but they were visiting relatives close to your hospital. And she was warned that she might have one of these spells, but she can't remember what she's supposed to do. The baby's severely cyanotic, crying his lungs out, and the sat probe will not read. The nurses all turn and look at you. What is your first step? How do you manage this cyanotic baby? So this is a TET spell, or also known as a hypercyanotic crisis or episode. Rare, but deadly if we freeze. This was actually the first ever post on First 10 EM way back in 2015, and not much has changed since then. They don't do large RCTs of babies with tetralogy of Fallot, but it felt like a good topic for YouTube. It's not something you're going to see often in your career, maybe once or twice, but it's something that you need to be ready for. A child could present like this anytime, anywhere, and it's our job to be ready. So let's run through the management. Step 1, page pediatrics and cardiology and PICU and whoever might be in your hospital who can help get them on board early, but you know they're not coming straight to the emergency department within the first couple minutes most of the time. You got to plan for running the first 10 minutes all by yourself, right? These cases don't wait for consultants. Step 2, calm and position. The ideal position for these children is knees to chest. That increases systemic vascular pressure, which will help the underlying VSD. We'll get to that later. Ideally, we want to do this on mom's lap because the other part of this is to use every trick in your book to calm the baby, which will also rely on you calming the mom or the parents. And then we're going to add oxygen. Blow-by oxygen by a non-rebreather is close to 100% as we can get. Crying worsens the shunt. Calm breaks the cycle. Step 3 will be to add to that, we're going to add either an opioid or maybe a benzodiazepine. In general, it's morphine that's recommended, 0.1 milligrams per kilogram. That could be IV, IM, sub-Q, PO, or fentanyl. If you don't have an IV, you can use 1.5 micrograms per kilo intranasally. An alternative sometimes recommended would be intranasal midazolam if that's something that your local emergency department prefers or has more comfort with. Step 4 is IV access and a fluid bolus, generally 10 cc's per kilo of normal saline to start. Now, the actual timing of the IV is interesting. Some resources put the IV start before morphine, and some places put it afterwards. An IV start obviously goes against our primary goal of calming this child down, but we do have a critically ill cyanotic child who's going to need intravenous medications. So you're going to have to make a judgment call. Most of the time, I think it makes sense to try positioning oxygen and an oral dose of morphine for the first few minutes. But if you happen to have that superstar nurse at your side, you know the one who's never missed an IV in her entire career, who's calm, who can manage the IV start in a 6-week-old easier than you can tie your own shoes, well, if that's the case, I might start an IV right away. Once you decide to start an IV, you've got to commit. It's time to get vascular access. Don't F around. 2 failed sticks in a crashing kid, you go IO. And then communicate with the team. Let them know what your next steps are, which in this case is phenylephrine. So step 5, phenylephrine. If there's no response, it's time to get phenylephrine. And the way to do this is push dose, because you're not going to have time to set up an entire trip on a critically ill neonate. Use the exact same dosing as you would for adults, just so you don't make any dosing errors in terms of how you mix this up. So that's a 10 milligram vial that goes into 100 milliliters of normal saline. That gets you 100 micrograms per milliliter. And once you have that, the dose is 5 to 20 micrograms per kilogram every 1 to 2 minutes. Now, I checked my own personal pediatric dosing app, the Pedistat app, however you want to pronounce that, and it's the phenylephrine dosing is in there, so I know for sure I will have this in my pocket and I won't need to memorize it. The dose will be there on first 10 a.m. Don't try to remember this. Look it up in the moment. Phenylephrine raises systemic resistance, which reverses the right to left shunt. There are steps beyond phenylephrine, but when I was originally writing this post, I spoke to every pediatric emergency medicine specialist that I could find, and the general consensus is phenylephrine is as far as you're going to need to go. I've basically been guaranteed that phenylephrine will work, but if we have to go further, there are some steps, so we might as well run through them. If the child is still agitated, think about using ketamine. If they're still cyanotic, would be the time to consider intubation. And it's not for increasing the FiO2, but the idea of intubating would be to, number one, drop the work of breathing, but more importantly, to decrease systemic vascular resistance, turning off their own sympathetic drive. We use paralytics, we use sedatives. And then there's a few last resorts. You could use bicarb for the metabolic acidosis that might be developing. You can use esmolol, and you can try to compress the abdominal aorta through the abdomen to increase that systemic vascular resistance. Now, unless you're about to take an exam, you don't need to know anything about the anatomy or the pathophysiology to be a good emergency doctor, but a quick reminder of this stuff might help some of this info stick in the back of your mind. So tetralogy of Fallot consists of 4 major anatomic features. One is a large ventricular septal defect, a VSD. 2 is a right ventricular outflow tract obstruction. Number 3 is an overriding aorta. And number 4 is right ventricular hypertrophy. Now, a TET spell or a hypercyanotic episode is an episode of acute severe cyanosis that occurs when there's a decrease in systemic vascular resistance, which causes blood to flow from the right side of the heart through the VSD into the left side of the heart. And it leads to a bit of a vicious or self-perpetuating cycle because obviously it causes distress and cyanosis, and crying increases pulmonary pressures, and hyperventilation decreases systemic vascular pressures, and so you get more and more right to left shunt, which worsens cyanosis. So this highlights the key management. Hopefully it explains some of the key features of the management that we already ran through. We want to keep the child calm because reducing crying reduces pulmonary pressures, which will hopefully redirect blood back through the pulmonary vasculature. Just like when we manage pulmonary hypertension, we want to improve oxygenation, which will also promote blood flow through the pulmonary artery. And then the key management steps all really focus on increasing systemic vascular resistance. So that's the knee to chest position. That's phenylephrine to redirect blood flow away from the VST and back into the pulmonary circulation. So let's run through that checklist one last time, try to burn it into our heads. Step 1, page for help. Step 2, position, oxygen, calm. The position is knees to chest, hopefully on mom's lap. Number 3, we're going to give an opioid like morphine or fentanyl to try to calm the child down. Number 4, we're going to start an IV and give a fluid bolus. And number 5, phenylephrine to increase that systemic vascular resistance. You can save a copy of that checklist from first10em.com/tetspell, or just use first10em itself as a checklist when a case like this rolls in. TET spells are rare and undoubtedly terrifying, but the steps that you have to take are actually relatively simple. Practice this mentally a few times, use first10em as a checklist, and when you see a blue baby roll into your resuscitation room, I guarantee you will own the first 10 minutes. Like, subscribe, check out the full post, all the resuscitation plans on first10em. Until next time, take care.